Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? Welcome to the War Room. I am Anthony Pinto. We are War Room Philly. Good to see you guys already in chat. I love when chat is... I don't even have to say anything and chat's already talking. What up, Joe Hunter? What up, Murph? It's good to see everyone out there in chat. Hopefully more file in as the day goes on, but we come on in a joyous of occasions. A day late. It was supposed to be a pregame show yesterday. Instead, it's a postgame show today. Thanks for bearing with it. I love when you guys can bear with us as we try to navigate through our schedules and sports schedules and the whole nine. So I appreciate you guys being here at a weird time on a weird day. Nonetheless, it's a good day. Murph, we were talking about it. I said, just give me some clean innings, and we got 2 clean innings. Now, it wasn't clean, Kimbrel's inning, but it wasn't dirty. No runs, that's clean. It's effective. I did want to put it in chat that I didn't like that he was getting the close. I don't really want Craig Kimbrel to be our closer, but I said I'm not going to type it in the chat because I do not want to put any negative vibes, any negative juju out there. So I didn't type it in, and I'm glad I didn't because it looked like it worked out for the Phillies. Not it looked like it did work out for the Phillies. Get our first win, not our first win at home, and hopefully this win can kind of start to put this team in the right direction. Hopefully playing at home can kind of right the ship. And look, anyone that's panicking right now is probably a casual. So let them. It's okay. Anyone that's looking at standings right now, like you got to at least let 30 games go by before you even formulate an opinion on a team. And right now, the Phillies are a team that we haven't got an opinion on yet. We're seeing... the good is, Trey Turner is, what's he got? I think 5 multi-hit games already. He's on fire, and he hasn't started hitting for power yet, which we saw all spring and in the World Baseball Classic. Kyle Schwarber is off to, a decent, he was pressing really early on, and it's he's putting some pressure to not be all off to a slower start, but we all know we're going to wait until June before we say anything about Kyle Schwarber, but he's got 2 home runs already this season. So there's some things to start to be positive about amongst a bunch of negativity. The negativity being the bullpen throughout the season up until today has not looked good. And more importantly, in the grand scheme of things, the injuries. Obviously, Reese is one, but Derek Hall is how many shows have I talked about? Every show since Reese has gone down, I've really touted and put Derek Hall on this pedestal, and now he's gone. I don't know how many teams can deal with that. So Cody Clemens is the next guy up. We'll see what he can do. My positive spin that I can say about Cody Clemens is, look, he's a guy that wants to be in the majors, so he's hungry. I don't know what you have out of that. I tend to think that you're going to have to tread water for the next couple of weeks because, look, for everyone going, get a first baseman. Of course. Like, everybody in the Phillies front office knows that, but no team 5-7 games in is looking to sell to their fan base that they're not trying to win. So, and it's not necessarily like the Phillies have a ton of MLB ready talent that they're looking to just push out the door, or they'd be on this team. So to acquire a first baseman is going to be a task, and it's an even bigger one to do it in April. If we can get to June, that's when you can really start to press on getting that issue. In the meantime, it's going to be Cody Clemens. I think now Alec Boehm becomes a much more viable option, maybe even every day at first base, especially if guys like Clemens are not getting it done. Edmundo Sosa's off to a hot start. He had a home run today. Again, he did it against a lefty. Maybe it's time you start seeing what Edmundo Sosa can do against righties, because the one thing we know about Edmundo Sosa is he's a major leaguer. I don't know that about Cody Clemens. So, look, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a shot, and by all means, give him it. I think it's cool to see Roger Clemens in Phillies gear. I'm not going to lie. So, there's at least that. That being said, you don't just give the guy a shot because of his dad, but, you give the guy a shot because of his credentials, which he's got. And, again, we'll see. It just comes down to if he can hit at this level, which, to this point, he's unproven. But yeah, it's, that being said, again, it's been not the best of starts to the season, but no one's panicking, and the win at home today, and hopefully you can start to multiply that should start to right the ship. And then you just go from there with this team. I thought Wheeler looked good today. It felt like he was popping the mitt a little bit better today. Alvarado looked amazing today. He really came in, struck out the sides. Alvarado, in my opinion, while he might not be the closer, I think he's going to be the most important bullpen piece. I think he's going to be the guy he might get the saves, just not the credit for it. Like, if you could imagine a world where there's like a closer column and then a save column, and the save goes to who gets the most important outs, I think that might be Alvarado's role this year. I think he's going to be more than a left-handed specialist. I think Soto, when he settles in, will be more of the left-handed. Well, he'll go out and get you the guy, the lefties out. I think at this point, Alvarado's too good to just be a guy that go and get lefties out. He showed it last season. He showed it today. Look, it's one. Like I just said, you can't formulate an opinion on just just yet. But he looked good today, going off of last season. If he can continue to do it, I think he's your best asset, at least right now in the pen. Sir Anthony, I think, still has some room to kind of prove it. And I would have liked to seen him out there today as the closer. That being said, Kimbrel got it done, so that's all that matters. And that's again why before anything happened, I wasn't gonna put anything in chat. I wasn't gonna put any negative vibes out there. But yeah, lefty righty comments. What I mean, it's a part of the game, whether you like it or not. It's the numbers show. It's a part of the game. That being said, I think that you have two left-handed options this year. So lefty can go, Soto, and then I think Alvarado can do more than just lefty on lefty. But yeah, I so far with this team, I'm still concerned about the bullpen. I want to see them iron it out and continue some consistency. I'm not so much concerned about starting pitching. I think that'll work itself out, especially when Ranger Suarez gets back in. So I'm not necessarily panicking about the starting pitching. I think we're fine there. Now it just comes down to if the bullpen can stabilize, and all year this team is going to live and die by its lineup. So now you're going to have to go out and figure out a first baseman. I hate to keep going back to that. But yeah. I think that moving forward now, it's like I said, it's April. So going out there and necessarily finding first baseman, you might have to go and kind of pick someone. You might have to go out and find another Cody Clemens in the meantime. Try to get someone that's a quad A guy. But this in the short term, this roster needs a proven major league first baseman. In in the less short term, but still the full on season, I do think that at this point, you're probably going to have to go out there and look for something. So again, we'll see what Clemens can do. He'll have a shot. I do think that Bohm might be the more permanent solution, at least short-term permanent solution. I know that's it contradicts itself. But yeah, going through the lineup today, again, Turner had a good game. Schwarber had the RBI. JT's home run in the, eighth. That kind of sealed the deal for or the seventh, was it? Kind of sealed the deal for the Phillies. Yeah, JT's in the seventh. Sosa was in the eighth. And again, I think that's the other wild card for this team now is Edmundo Sosa. And he's off. Sorry, my wire was all tangled up. Sorry for the noise. Edmundo Sosa, I think, is kind of really forcing his way into maybe more of a role in this lineup. He's batting .364. The homer today, he's not necessarily a guy like he's not gonna necessarily hit you for power, but if he's hitting for power, you'd take that. So I think that is going to be the next kind of key to this cog is how much are you willing to play Edmundo Sosa, and then if you play him as your everyday third baseman and maybe Bohm settles in as kind of this team's everyday first baseman, it might be less than ideal for Alec Bohm, who is just getting settled in at third, but you got to do what's best for the team. And I think if you can especially settle him in and, hey, this is going to be your spot now, I think he works on it and he owns it. I can't remember a Philly like Turner running the bases. He's Jimmy Rollins. He's the next best thing we're ever going to get to Jimmy Rollins, who Jimmy Rollins is a Hall of Famer, or at least should be. So yeah, but I mean Turner he's elite speed. He's one of the fastest in the game. I think Shohei Ohtani is the only person that runs the bases faster than him. Yeah, Turner. He's going to steal close to as many bags as Rollins did. That's what I've said as soon as we got him. That's his comparison to anybody that Phillies fans can remember, because this is a guy that I've told people, take him to be the MVP this year. If you're a futures person, I think it's a smart bet. Because especially the more these injuries add up, and if you're a believer in the Phillies, it's going to happen through a guy like Trey Turner. And he's off to a good enough start. Excuse me, give me a second. Yeah, when he got on. Shout out to the T-Rats. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, Turner he's a lightning rod. I mean, he's off to a .375 average. I keep saying he's going to hit his first home run today pretty much every game. Maybe I'll stop tomorrow so that he gets it. But he is a absolute he's a baller. I mean, Silver Slugger last year, he can field. He's a 5-tool player. He's everything you ask for. You have him, and you're going to have Bryce in the same lineup with Schwarber. Look, you lost some pieces over the last couple of weeks as far as the first baseman go, but this team's still poised to make some noise. And I always thought that the National League East would be hard to obtain, but this team's at least a wild card. I still think they're a top 6 team, and throughout time we'll find that out. It's too early to make any other kind of assumptions and things about it, but yeah, I mean this is hopefully the start of you want to maybe take 3, and all of a sudden you forget about the rough start and. The casuals that are ripping the scheme kind of fade away, and then everything kind of just falls into motion with this team. So yeah, it's a good one. And I just want to quick shift gears to another point, and we can go back to baseball. But the NBA had a collective bargaining agreement go through, and I just wanted to take a moment to rip the mid-season tournament that they want to do, because it's stupid. I can't find the actual. Where's it at? For the first time. Trying to find the actual. Now I can't find it. I'm here at the park. I'm here at the park, and this is what I'm. This is what. Well, we were just. I actually just took a quick shift. I've been talking baseball since we went live, and I just wanted to take a quick shift to rip the thing. But yeah, let's talk. Since you were there, Joe, give us the live report. How did it feel to be back down there today? How did it feel? Let us know. You said it was men not having Reese and Bryce. It felt empty. Oh, well, they were out there raising the flag. I thought that was great. I will say, now, of course, it's game one at home compared to a playoff game. But I did the atmosphere was I thought Schwarber's first at bat, the place would erupt, and it didn't. I was listening on the radio too for the first inning, and it didn't come through. Didn't quite come through the way that I thought it would. That being said, it sounded pretty loud when JT hit that home run. I thought it got there for a full crowd. And again, I'm not trying to bash anybody. It's the opening day crowd. Opening day crowd is different than October crowd. Opening day, it's we're gonna take the kids and everybody's gonna go. We bought tickets since the last year and we're gonna brave the element. I don't know what I'm doing. But it's not the hardcores. So it'll get louder as the season goes on. I will say, obviously, too, with Bryce getting back, it'll help. But yeah. Trade for CJ Cron. Again, it's Cron. Look, I'm for it. I'll retort now that there's more in chat. I get that everybody in the Phillies front office knows that right now assignment number one is to acquire and or find a first baseman, whether it be for this year or the future. That being said, no other general manager is really in a rush to quite tell their fan base, hey, we're selling, and it's April 7th, or April 8th, 9th, 10th. It's going to be really hard to find another general manager that's looking to deal a piece in April. Come June, that becomes a little bit more obtainable, and I think that even May, it becomes a little bit more obtainable. But right now, you're not looking as a GM to just tell your fan base, hey, we're selling and we're not going to win this year. So it's tough. I get it. And by all means, we can talk. If you guys want to bring up your who do you want them to go get? Let's talk about it all day, all night, week in, week out. We can do this. As far as the just don't go thinking that there's no sense of urgency for the Phillies, because it's there. I'm sure it's there. I just, it's going to be really hard for another general manager in April to say to their fan base, hey, we're sellers. And the Phillies don't necessarily have that, like, major league ready talent in the farms that they're necessarily just trying to get rid of, too. So it might be a little tough to do right now in April. That's all I'm saying. But I agree. I'm not disagreeing with anybody. Yeah, we were talking about CJ Cron, Abel, McGarry. I'm trying to find the... Christian Walker was the other name that we've brought up in the past. I'm sorry, it took me a second to look it up because the name escaped my head. But yeah, Christian Walker. That to me is a guy that if you want to move, if you are like ready to say we're not gonna have Reese next year, because I believe I think Walker is on contract for next year as well. Let me look it up. No, Walker's a 1-year deal. Walker would be a 1-year deal. Won a Gold Glove for you last year, I think. Not for us, but won a Gold Glove last year, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I mean, again, this is it's what we'll be talking as far as going forward. Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt. There we go. Let's just bring in an MVP from a team that wants to win. I'm for it. Be a bold strategy if that's who they want to trade him to the Phillies, but sure. So yeah, it's again, that's what the front office is going to be looking at moving forward, and kind of now, just as far as the Phillies go, it'll be just kind of look it'll be Clemens, it'll be Bohm. I think Clemens probably deserves a little bit of playing time. I don't know if deserves is the right word, but you'll probably try him until proven that he can't do it. But if Sosa starts hitting, if he keeps hitting the way he's hitting, I think that he is going to be kind of due to get some at-bats against righties. And if that's the case, then I think in your short-term solution would be Alec Bohm. At first base, you get Sosa in at third. Sosa's a plus as far as defensively goes. As long as Alec Bohm can kind of not get in his own head about now playing first, I think that he would play it just as fine as Reese or Hall would, if not better. So defensively, it would be an upgrade. It just comes down to offensively, how sustainable is Sosa every day against both righties and lefties. We've seen what he can do against lefties. We see that he crushes them. But his numbers, they're waning. And then not only numbers, I think that a player like that, sure, we put him in against lefties and so that because he's a righty and he's going to hit them, but I think a player like Sosa might get, I don't want to say exposed, but I think Sosa could kind of get exposed against something like that. When it comes down to, and I don't know that I ever made a Facebook post for this. I did, okay. So I do think that I'm a little worried about Sosa maybe getting exposed if he plays every day. Right now, I think he's got a tremendous value as kind of a platoon, bench piece, and I might be a little worried to kind of overexpose that. But again, right now, you're in a desperate situation. So that's really your two best solutions. And in my opinion, I think that is going to be the one that you start to see a little bit more and more and more. You know, you had Roger Clemens in the building here for Cody Clemens on opening day, and that's great. But yeah, let me check the box score on Clemens before I. Yeah, 0 for 2. And then that's who Sosa came in, and he had the home run for. So I do think that that's probably what we'll see as I contradicted myself earlier, as your kind of short-term permanent solution. I think Clemens might have his days here and there, but if ultimately I'm not necessarily sold on his bat at the major league level. And I think the quicker we find that out, the quicker we move to that and give. We already know that Sosa can bat at the major league levels and can do some things, for stretches exceedingly well. So, and again, it's a plus defensively, however you want to look at that as well. But look, we're on the board. Win 5-2 today. Things are looking a little bit better as far as this whole outlook goes. He went on the home opener. Obviously, things feeling better. So right now, I think you're gonna, outside of all these things, you're just gonna rely on these bats when Trey Turner could be a potential MVP candidate this year. Schwarber's already hitting home runs, and it's not June. And we haven't even brought up the fact that Bryce Harper has taken batting practice and has been hitting some bombs over at Yankee Stadium, and he did it today at Citizens Bank. Bryce Harper could be coming to this lineup a lot faster than, if he's here before June, that's insane. And again, we won't see him. I don't know that we'll see him in the field at all this year. We'll see on that. I mean, if he's already getting back this quick to hitting, who knows? But things are going well, and he put one up today in the second deck in batting practice. Castellanos with 5 doubles, pretty solid outside of the 0-13 skid in New York. I guess I just should keep kind of being negative on Castellanos because it seems to be working. Last year I was positive on him. I said wake me up when he hits a home run. But no, I can't act like that. It's looking good. I don't know that he needs to be batting in the 4-hole, but looking good. Again, not to sound like a hater though, we need to start seeing a little more power from Castellanos. And my biggest fear when you look at... Let's pull him up. When you pull up Nick Castellanos' numbers and you kind of start to look at them, my biggest fear is that we paid a guy for this year. And if you look... home runs, 34 in 2021, the year before he came here. But these years before it, now injuries play a part. But you go back to it, and even going back to 2017. 26 home runs, 2018, 23 home runs, 2019, 27 home runs. Outside of that, it's just 11, 15, 18, 11, 16, 14, 34. So my biggest concern is that we're paying Castellanos for the only year that he was an all-star. when he's maybe more in this range. Oh, and I should note that the 2019 is split up. So 11 and 16 should be 26. Let me correct myself. He did hit 26. So 27. That does make things look a little better. I just realized there was 1 year. I kind of skimmed through, and he got traded from Detroit to Chicago. All right. It's a little better, but my big thing with Castellanos is that I'm afraid that the power might be gone, and I don't know that we're paying him to hit doubles, but we'll take it for right now. We will take it. As long as he's getting on base, driving in runs, but I do want to start seeing the power come from Castellanos, and then we'll go from there. Why the hell is Schwarber not batting fourth? Because he gets more at-bats batting second, and yeah. I want Schwarber. I want him batting the first inning. And if you go by the flow of the lineup, you have Trey Turner, especially as currently constructed. You have Trey Turner 1, righty. Kyle Schwarber 2, lefty. JT Realmuto, righty. It was Derek Hall, lefty. But the righty kind of flows a little more. And I'm not moving Schwarber back. I want him to get as many at-bats as possible. I also didn't care that he was leadoff last year. The more at-bats that he can get, the more dingers he's going to hit. So, yeah, I'm all for him batting 1 through 3. I would not drop him any further in the lineup. Even when Harper gets back. And that's when it'll get interesting. When Harper gets back, it'll kind of disrupt what I just said. But I still think you go Trey Turner 1, Schwarber 2, Harper 3. JT 4. But to your point, that's where you start to think about putting Schwarber 4 when Bryce gets back. Because then you go Trey 1, Bryce 2, JT 3, Kyle Schwarber 4. If that makes you happy. But that doesn't even really become a factor until Schwarber's back, in my opinion. Or Harper's back, excuse me. I can't bash Nick since he's been hitting the ball well. I thought Schwarber would be hitting better with no shift. Again, it's very early, and it's April, so anything you get from Schwarber in April is great. And you saw last night, he got the hit through the shift in New York that put up a run. Or through the not shift, I should say. I mean, you'll see it. Just wait. He's not going to just start hitting every single thing through the infield in April. You got to just wait. It'll come. You'll see it. There's not a lot of baseball played yet. But yeah, what else? I got some show notes. Let me check my show notes real quick. So I forgot to pull them up. Trey Turner has been better than... I actually thought about tweeting earlier and jokingly saying that Trey Turner was underpaid, kind of a la what Middleton said to Bryce. But yeah, Trey Turner, again, look, if you're a betting man, I am not going to bet money that I can't see until October from now or whatever. But man, if you're a futures person, bet Trey Turner MVP. Even if you throw $5 on there. Bet Trey Turner MVP. And if you bet big and hit because of these words, Venmo at War Room Philly, maybe throw me a little bit. That's on you. You could do that right now just because, in fact. You could do that just now, drop me at War Room Philly. You can donate, help the stream out, keep some food on my table. And wants commission. Yeah. Look, if I made money doing these streams, I would do them all that more often. And Lord knows I could use to make some. So, any news on Painter? Let's Google it. I'm not saying that to be a dick. I don't know. I haven't heard it, so I think that's no news. There we go. So it says here that the Phillies transferred him to the 60-day injured list. So he won't return before Memorial Day. Painter is dealing with a sprain in his right elbow. Still has not picked the baseball back up. When he does, the Phillies will move cautiously with him. These likely steps would be throwing off of flat ground, then a mound, then bullpen sessions. Then a tune-up starts. Then tune-up starts in the minor leagues. It is possible he helps the Phillies this summer, just not anytime soon. That's from the NBC Sports website. Yeah, I don't know that it's a blessing in disguise because I think that they could have maybe managed his reps throughout the year, Joe. But I get what you're saying because now he might just kind of if and when he does return, it could just be like he hits the ground and he's a pitcher. They don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to put him on pitch limit. Well, I mean, his first few starts will certainly be on limits and things like that. But you mean once he gets revved up, they might not have to really worry about a pitch count. So I understand what you're saying. I can't agree with it because I need to see what's on the other end of this before I just call it a blessing. Could it be a blessing in disguise? Maybe. Is it? No. But you're right. To your playoff point, he's probably a little bit more available later in the season because of it. Although I don't know that the deal was to ever shut him down for the playoffs. I think that they probably would have shut him down for a period or two. But now they might not have to do that. So I see that part for sure, for sure. So where are we at on time here? 45. Not perfect. If healthy, could have gone with a 6-man rotation. Yeah, and that's what I was kind of calling for all off season. I was weirdly looking forward to it, and now we're kind of gonna have to work around it and get creative, and that's what we'll see. We certainly will see that throughout this season, as far as these guys go. So yeah, I got as far as plan things goes, I got nothing left, chat. So if you got anything you want to talk about, by all means, get it in the chat now, and we'll start rolling towards the final thoughts segment of tonight. If Rob Thompson did not take out Nola against the Yanks, they would have won the game. What? Are they hiding something about Ranger? I just actually closed. I should have kept it open. Hold on. I'm going to pull up that same thing because I think it had something about Ranger Suarez. So. There we go. Derek Hall, Marsh. Ranger Suarez is making progress and has thrown 2 bullpen sessions since Sunday. He will require a minor league rehab assignment because he has not pitched since March 8th. So that sounds promising about Ranger. No, they are not hiding something about Suarez, assuming that these things go. I have a love-hate relationship with Nola. Always has that one inning. Yeah, that's why I disagree with him not taking him out last game, because he hasn't kind of like earned the right to stay in yet, for lack of a better term, because of that one inning. And it's something. I'm not trying to sound critical of Nola, but it's to the like. And again, I'm not one of these people, but to the he's not an ace crowd. Aces can figure things out when they don't have their best stuff, and it feels like when he runs into that inning, it's because he all of a sudden doesn't have his best stuff, and he doesn't know how to work around it. At some point in Aaron Nola's career, he needs to figure out a way to work around the inning, because it's... Again, I'm a Nola fan, but there's no denying the Nola inning. There's no denying that. And as a manager, that's got to be tough to deal with, because you have people, we have it in chat. It's if you don't take them out, you leave them in too long. Oh, you should have known. It's the end. Or then if you take them out and then the bullpen does something, it's, oh, he could have got out of it. And it's like, I don't think he could have. He hasn't shown that he has in the past. And I'm a fan. Wheeler is late to look dominant. I think today his stuff looked pretty good on TV. Again, it's still early. It's April. He's not going to come out throwing 132 pitches, popping 97, hitting everything in April. But he looked pretty good today. His fastball had much better life to it. So I think that Wheeler definitely looked like he was improving today. Definitely liked that. I think that Wheeler is... To your point, I'll try to give you a credit. He's on pace to look dominant pretty soon, but it's April. He doesn't need to look dominant quite yet. Yeah, and Alcantara is what, 20? The Marlins win their World Series in April, not in October. So, and Alcantara's a freak. We don't have Alcantara. I'm not going to say that. Like, but we have Wheeler and Nola. Most teams can't put up two aces or close to aces, number ones, or whatever you want to call it. So, again, Nola's got to figure out a way to get around that inning. And I think as far as Wheeler goes, I'm a Wheeler fan, so maybe, and not that I'm not a Nola fan, but I like Wheeler more. I think that he's our best pitcher. I think that between him and Nola, you have an ace, if not two. And I think that Wheeler is on pace to look dominant. You got to remember, guys like Alcantara didn't pitch nearly the innings that Wheeler did last year. Nearly the innings that Aaron Nola did last year. They weren't pitching in October and November. So... Not that I'm making excuses for, in particular, Nola and Wheeler, but those two threw more innings than pretty much anybody in baseball last year. And they were feeling it last year. So you got to imagine that they're going to have to get off to a little bit slower of a start. So with that, I thought Wheeler's stuff looked amazing today. So yeah, what else? I got nothing. No, I'm not too much else. Any other final thoughts tonight, guys? I don't know. I don't know. We've done 40. I'm already losing my voice, as the allergy season is real. So yeah, I think that as far as it goes, kind of stay tuned. There might be some little more pop-up streams and/or shows. Might do some more gaming on the channel. We'll see. So stay tuned for that. But next week, as far as this show is concerned, it'll probably be Wednesday, but I have to check the schedules to all of our sports teams and my co-hosts. And we'll get back at it. Next Saturday, the Sixers begin their title run. Man, I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Joe. You know what? I guess now's the time to talk some basketball, because I tried to earlier and I got yelled at. But the final thoughts are, I think the birth of a mid-season, in-season tournament for the NBA is absolutely the stupidest thing that has ever been conceived. It's total jealousy for the college basketball game, which the NBA is trying to do everything they can to kill anyway. So leave them their friggin' tournament. And that being said, I don't think that one game towards the end of the season on national television should have mattered as much as it seems like. But Joel Embiid, he's been the MVP, in my opinion, for the past 3 seasons. I personally still thought last season, as far as an MVP candidacy goes, I still thought last season was it was. I still go to bed thinking at night, how did he not win the MVP last year? With Ben Simmons doing everything he could to stab this team in the back, front, and sides. And Joel Embiid put up all of the numbers he did, and then voters just acted like James Harden was here all year. It's insane to me. So if you guys I've already protected myself to like be prepared for him to not win it this year again. But in my opinion, last year was still more impressive. And that being said, he's the MVP this year too. I totally disagree. You said DeAnthony Melton's 6th man of the year this year, and I agreed with that more than I agree with Jaden Springer as it next year, Joe. But I hope you're right. You can say something real quick about the Flyers, whether or not I respond to it, Joe. We'll see. But you can say whatever the hell you want in chat. If I don't like it, I just blow by it. It's all good. Or if it can't add to the discussion of the show, I just blow by it. You guys know that by this point. I stopped getting mad at everything in chat. Now I just let it go. If it can help with the flow of the show, it stays in. If not, we just go through it. We're freestyling. We're at the jazz section of the show. In fact, let me take a sip because I don't know if you guys. I've been wheezing. It feels like for 2 months straight. Can't kick it. Yeah, see, like comments like that, we just let it go by because it doesn't make any sense. But you're leaving me hanging here for a while, Joe. Is this a long comment or what? I got to create content while I'm waiting for this. See, that's what I said. It's make next time. Just say the chat and then we'll go with it instead of leaving me on this roller coaster cliffhanger. But just to kind of wrap things up, I guess on the Sixers while we wait for that. Look, I'm pretty confident that the Sixers can and should probably play the Nets and then beat them. However, Mikal Bridges is not to be trifled with. So definitely like that. Well, Billy King is helping. Billy King is helping in the search for a new president of hockey. However, is that really like Billy King, the one that was bad with the Sixers? Yeah, the Flyers are funny. They're whack. There's some whack dads. No, just kidding. Enjoy dinner. But yeah. As far as I'm trying to think any other final thoughts tonight. Yeah, the Embiid kind of MVP thing. The Sixers. Look, I just don't. I don't know that this team is any different than any others. I still see a weak bench. Harden. I think Harden is going to have to pick up offensively in the scoring department for this team to really pick up in the postseason play. And I'm not trying to bash Harden. I'm just saying it kind of feels like in come playoff time, this is a guard-driven league. So as much as I love Embiid, he's going to have to kind of learn how to give control over to Harden in the fourth. And if the Sixers and Embiid and Harden can all kind of coexist in that, then I think that we'll see something. But last message was not met. I thought it looked good. I thought you were saying 4 for 5 because you're a Union guy. So it made sense. It looks cool in chat too. We'll never see relevant hockey again. We will. It'll just be a while. It'll be a minute. It's like how I tell people with society. Sometimes things have to get really bad or really, really bad before it gets good. I still have hope for society. I still have hope for the Flyers. It's just going to be a minute. Now, unless you're planning on going to, like, I think it, like, real talk. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole because you guys know I hate the Flyers right now. But it sounds like people are starting to catch on why I hate the Flyers. Real talk, 5-10 years, this team might be back in the saddle. They have Carter Hart. And hockey goalies don't really expire. So they have Carter Hart. Like, they have a piece to build around. It's just ownership needs to get over this black and orange culture. They need a complete overhaul on just culture top to bottom, because I'm not going to act like it's just ownership, because last ownership had the problem too. But this team, it feels like it lacks a connection with the city. So, it just comes down to finding playmakers. And again, it doesn't matter about talent until there's a complete overhaul in culture for this entire organization. And when we see that, then we can start to kind of really dig deep into the Morgan Frosts and things like that. But I don't know. I was a Morgan Frost guy. I don't know. Goalies to me have a much longer shelf life than any other position in the NHL. That's why I'm willing to say Carter Hart is the one thing you stick with. Outside of that, it's I don't know. I'd have to see and really dive into the offer before. And even with Carter Hart, I think about, no one's untradeable, but in my opinion, I would love to see what you could do with a team in front of Hart, because the 1 year we had even a little bit of a team, we had some serious expectations with this team, and we had a pretty, we had that bubble hockey run and things. So I've come around to think that trading Hart sets this team back yet again. Yeah, so my thought process on it would be, right now you have an asset. Trading him, now you have none. Or, whatever assets you think they may have, but you have at least your biggest ones now off the table. And I think, and again, I say it because if you look at career longevities for NHL goaltenders, they're there. You can have a goalie for 10 plus years when they're elite. So, well, that was weird, depressing final thoughts, but good way to clear out chat now that we're talking Flyers. But yeah, guys, this was a fun one. We didn't get any Eagles talk in, but we'll gear up the Eagles talk as we move closer to the draft. We'll make some announcements as far as what we're doing for the draft, who, what, when, and where. So stay tuned to that. The best place to get all of your information from us as we come up with it is facebook.com/warroomphilly. So helping you out to end the show on time. No, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, again, Facebook.com/warroomphilly, YouTube, catch us there. You might be watching us on YouTube. Twitch.tv/WarRoomPhilly is how you catch us live. And pretty much War Room Philly absolutely anywhere. And again, feel free to drop a Venmo at War Room Philly. Feel free. Again, with that, guys, we will see you next week, probably Wednesday. But as always, stay tuned to the Facebook and turn notifications on right here on Twitch. Then you get a little boom. Oh, shit. War Room Philly's live. Let's go. Again, let's make sure you do that. Remember when the Flyers were the subject program? Yeah, I do. I remember when the Flyers would bring Greg and I viewers from across the pond, Flyers fan UK. I remember all that. Yeah. It's a cycle. When the Flyers were relevant, the Sixers were not, and I would bash the Sixers. Now the Sixers are relevant and the Flyers are not, and I bash the Flyers. And the good thing is the Phillies are relevant again, which they were back at those times. We just posted the picture of the four aces and Joe, and I was like, this rotation birthed War Room Philly. Like, that literally, sports talk in this town was so hot at that point that I just told Greg, we got to do it. We sit here and we do it all the time anyway. We got to do it. But the Sixers or the Phillies are certainly as good. The Eagles are better. So it's gonna be fun. Can't wait for the draft show. Joe, you and me both. I have been talking about the draft show since a couple weeks ago already with the boys, and we're trying to iron it all out. So it's gonna be a fun one. You guys know we gotta plan it out, because it's like, do you just start at the first round and you prepare for a marathon for us? Or maybe we wait until like pick 7 or 8 and then we go on, because, if Jalen Carter's there, my opinion is Jalen Carter at 10 is a lock. I think if Jalen Carter isn't there, you're probably trading back, and that's when you start to play the potentially the Bijan game. So it's we're doing some talking behind the scenes and figuring out how, as adults, like Greg's a dad, how we can do these things. I got two mail carriers, and UPS workers are tired all the time. So can Keith and Kev. So we'll see, but we are working on it. Eagles will take Bijan if Carter isn't there at 10. We'll get into that. I don't think so. I don't think they'll take him at 10, but we will get into that. And that can be the little... Let's remember that, Joe, for next show. Copy and paste that. Let's get right back into that next week, because we pushed the Eagles not even on the burner, not even on the... to say the back burner, this is all we've talked the Eagles tonight. So we will get a little more in-depth on the Eagles next week for sure. And yeah. And you know what, Joe? I'll take that into consideration. We'll talk. You gotta shoot me a DM somewhere, wherever it's best for you, whether it be Twitter. I guess we've talked on Facebook before, and we'll work on that. Do some quality control tests and stuff. But yeah, it might be a show that we could pull you in for a hot minute and have your reaction for sure. I'm not gonna rule anything out. I gotta first see who and what co-hosts I have too. No, I've met you in person. You don't seem that. When I say quality, I mean like we'll talk off the air, but I gotta mic and stuff like that. Like, and even if you're on a phone, that's fine. It'll just be for a shorter period of time. But yeah. With that, guys, thank you all for tuning in, both live and on demand. But it is officially time to put a bow on this pretty little show. Guys, it has been a blast. It's even more fun that this game happens right off of a Phillies win. So we got that. And hopefully we can kind of get this ball rolling, take on the Reds and get it going. So we'll stay on all that and more. So with that, I am Anthony Pinto, and we are out of here.